welcome to episode 5 of the Ed Factor.
Number 5.
Number 5, can you believe that?
No,
No?
I can't believe it. It's been a very, very, very long week.
Yes.
We have done quite the research this week.
Quite the research. Feels like we're flying through the episodes as well. So
Hope you're enjoying them.
Hope you're enjoying them. Welcome. Today's episode is going to be about the classic Iron Maiden album, The Number of the Beast.
If you could describe this album in one word, Andy, what word would you use?
Beast.
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 That's a great word.
Why? What would your word be?
I've forgotten what it was already. Can you believe that?
I assume you asked that question because you
That's
thought of a
a
word.
really good word. Remember?
And now you've forgotten.
Great start, everybody.
And I was totally unprepared.
You're totally unprepared.
Beast. That'll come back to you.
It'll come back to me. Oh my goodness. It was it's a fantastic occasion. I've been really looking forward to this.
To this one.
Yeah, I have.
So you've been listening to this album this past
I've
week.
been listening to it since 1987.
Mm-hmm.
That's how long it's been. This episode's been 34 years in the making.
In the post for that long.
Yeah.
Everyone, the album came out in 1982. But Chris first got it in 1987.
Yep. Shout out to my Uncle Ray. If he ever sees this, he gave it to me.
And it'll be...
And I still have it.
Still have
12
it.
inch, yep.
12-inch version.
Yep.
Awesome. It's probably early 90s, 91, 92 maybe for me. That's whenever I got into Maiden. 91, I think. So, there you are. But anyway, we're going to talk about the album today. We're going to pick up kind of where we left off. Episode 4, we looked at Killers.
Yep, we hope you enjoyed that, and I'm sure there's plenty of debate.
Yep.
There's plenty of debate in here about it.
Plenty of debate in here, strong opinions on the album, and if you haven't checked it out, it's there. So go check it out. We kind of finish off that episode with the departure of
Paul
Di'Anno.
And we introduced this episode to another Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Or Paul Bruce Dickinson, as you would probably know him as.
Or Bruce Paul, whatever.
Or Bruce.
Yes. The mighty Bruce Dickinson, who replaces Paul Di'Anno. So the band basically on the Killers tour, there's some problems with Paul, with Di'Anno. Di'Anno didn't want to be there, partying, struggling with touring, didn't want it really.
Had to cancel some shows,
Yep. So they had to look for someone else before kind of making the decision. Or they made the decision. I think they needed to find someone else. Di'Anno was going to have to go.
Yeah.
And Steve said, right, well, Bruce Dickinson from Samson. The two bands had been on the no album scene.
Yep, that's it. They were supposed they were, equals at a stage.
Equals at a stage, had gigged. Obviously, Maiden had gone beyond Samson.
Yeah, there's obviously we're talking about the Ides of March in the last episode as well. There's a link there as well.
Yep. Because Samson's drummer was Thunderstick. He was in the very early version of Maiden, and the Ides of March is actually a Samson track, but it's called Thunder something. So it's identical, apart from a little bit of acoustic guitar at the start. There you are.
Check that one out.
Check that out. Just look it up on YouTube. It is exactly the same song. But basically, I think Steve Harris went, yeah, he's the guy. He's the guy we want. And they were on tour, so they sent Rod Smallwood and Steve Lazarus, Laz, who used to run the fan club, maybe he still does, over to the Reading Festival, end of August 29th, 1981, to check out Samson, who were playing.
Very famous story in Maiden folklore, this. Involving an arc light.
Involving an arc light, yeah. So basically, I think Rod and Laz are watching, and Rod Smallwood wasn't sure, didn't really like Bruce, didn't like Samson, this kind of thing. But their song or two went, And anyway, Steve had sent them there to,
And Steve we trust.
make the approach type thing, you know. So, after the gig or whatever, they're standing.
They're in the backstage area of the festival, and there's a few, there's a great recount of it in Bruce's book, What Does This Button Do?
Yeah.
Also in the classic albums. I think it's in the classic albums documentary too.
Yeah,
I think,
and
or the
or early days.
Early days, can't
Yeah.
remember. Maybe it's in both. I'm not sure. But so picture it. You're in a backstage in a festival. Probably 1,000 people there, all boozing, all journalists, rock stars, all together mingling, and the only source of light in the backstage, according to Bruce, is this massive arc light in the middle of it, and Smallwood is there basically buttonholing them, and you know, obviously the entire British Nawabum rock establishment is there watching them. So
Rod thinks that they're away from everyone,
yeah.
but obviously everyone can just see there's a field with this
There's
big light.
There's Maiden's new singer, obviously.
Yeah, there's Maiden thing, and they're standing having this apparently animated discussion.
Just imagine.
Yeah,
Can't you just?
yeah. So I was looking into this as well. I've found Bruce saying that that particular discussion was a little bit animated. He made it really clear that yes, he was interested, and yes, he'd been watching Maiden, thinking, "Oh yeah, if I could sing that band." Don't know if he told Rod that, but what he did say was, "Look, if you're expecting someone to come in and be like Paul Di'Anno, you know, and just copy him, I'm the wrong guy. I'm that kind of Cockney Sparrow act. It's not me. Doesn't interest me."
He's more of a
Don't really like
kestrel than a sparrow.
Yeah.
Or a peregrine falcon, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. If you think about it.
Yeah.
Chalk and cheese.
Chalk and cheese, you
Yeah.
know. And he made that abundantly clear. I think he also had a really clear vision of what the front man should be in the band from being on the outside. I think
Yeah.
a couple of band members have said that as well.
Interesting thing I'm going to bring up later about that.
Yeah. So anyway, Dickinson's approached and becomes the new singer. So that just timeline wise, sorry,
Yeah.
that's
Aye.
end of August. You know, 29th of August, that approach is made. By the 10th of September, Di'Anno leaves by mutual consent. Bruce Dickinson's first show is then on the 26th of October in Bologna in Italy, where they do 5 gigs just to get, well, blow the cobwebs off, introduce Bruce to the new fans.
Yeah. One of the things I suppose is quite interesting that Bruce says they asked him to learn 4 songs for their first sort of get together.
So this is for like an audition tape,
Pretty much, yeah.
to hear the voice recorded, to
Yeah.
make sure that he's the right
Yeah.
singer.
And he learned 15. You know, so
And he learned
basically,
15.
there's the effort put in straight away. But right
Wow.
from day one, that's the commitment that he shows to the band. I think is incredible. He is he's got the voice, he's got the commitment, he's got the passion, and he's also got the writing, as we'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's fantastic. You know, obviously everybody's really chuffed, and
Yeah,
as I said in the last episode as well, the cavalry's coming.
cavalry's
They're
coming.
kind of here.
Yeah,
You
this is the cavalry arriving. That's interesting. You say I didn't know that he had learned 15 songs
Yeah,
when he was asked to learn 4. That pays off because within 5 weeks of joining the band, he's
He's doing a full show.
he's doing a week's tour in Italy.
Mhm.
Where
Just put that into perspective, like a touring band, live setup
Yeah.
already.
they're playing
Stagecraft's there.
20 songs.
Yeah,
So yeah, he'd already he'd done his homework.
yeah, of course,
Um,
absolutely. I wouldn't expect anything else.
No.
You know, when you obviously they get to know him, and
consummate
we get to know him
professional.
as fans. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Totally.
absolute professional.
So time is something that I think amazes me about this era of Maiden.
Absolutely,
Because how
we're certainly
quickly-
reflected now. You're waiting,
Yeah.
what, 5 years,
5
6 years
or so,
from
as
now?
I was saying, but it's
Yeah.
just the pace of things in the 1980s. I mean, there we are. He's only got the gig within 5 weeks. He's on tour. They're doing a small tour.
Yeah,
Last week of October, they do a week in Italy. 15th of November, they do the first UK show in Rainbow in London. And then they do the Christmas Bash in the Ruskin Arms on the 23rd. So those are Bruce's kind of home debuts to kind of, introduce him to the home crowd. But this is a bit that's amazing. They're straight into the studio then in January to record a new album.
the
So
follow up, the Killers.
Yeah, the follow-up to Killers. They have to write new material. All the material
Yep.
from the early days has been used up.
It's the end of the beginning, I think.
Yeah, and it's a new era, and I suppose it's a new batch of songwriters because Adrian Smith had only really joined just before Killers, and didn't really didn't have a chance to write.
No,
for
well,
that
sorry,
album.
he was only.
He was only in it a matter of weeks.
It's much
wasn't
the
he?
same as Bruce.
Yeah, much
Yeah.
the same as Bruce. So
The old turnaround times are pretty swift and Maiden, aren't they?
amazingly swift. I mean, put it into context. They're going into the studio in January. They release Run to the Hills on the 12th of February. Single. Right.
That's 6 weeks.
That is something. That's 6 weeks. Now, they were under so much pressure. I was reading the Run to the Hills book, the section of this, and watching a couple of interviews with Steve Harris and stuff on YouTube. So the pressure was really, really big because we needed some time to write new songs, and that ate into our recording time, which meant we had 5 weeks to get the whole album recorded and mixed. Plus our UK tour.
Well, they were on. That's what I was going to say. There was a tour as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, UK tour was starting in February. Was booked to start on the 25th of February. So what they had to do was the album wasn't going to be ready in time to go on tour. That became apparent, and they desperately needed to get a single out.
Yeah.
To promote the UK tour,
which hasn't been written by this stage,
which hasn't been recorded, let alone they had. I think the way Steve put it, they made the decision about the singles. We had the ideas sketched out
right
at this point, but we hadn't recorded a note. So how could you really tell? The ideas were given to Martin Birch, and then they sounded him out. Which one's going to be the single? And he said, "Run to the Hills." And I hadn't even recorded a note. That's the songs were a sketch.
Yeah, also, you think as well. Time you're talking about time wise and tightness of time. The way that Steve writes songs and the way compared to the way that Bruce writes songs are totally different.
And Adrian, yeah, totally different.
Where Steve has the ideas and he comes away, basically, and comes back to the studio or the rehearsal area with an entire song ready to go, apart from the solos.
It's all in his head, and
he's the melody lines whistled. I was amazing. I watched a few interviews. One with Nico, he was doing an impression of him. It was hilarious. But and then Bruce is very much in the group situation and writing together and
throwing ideas.
I suppose that lends itself maybe to a bit of speed too at this time.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and a different vibe.
Yeah, I'm more collaborative. Yeah,
to songs, you know.
I think Burr has a writing credit in this album too. Doesn't he?
He does. He does. Yeah.
Gangland, is it?
Gangland. Yeah. So yeah, we just wanted to kind of set the scene. I think there just about the pace, the context of the album. You know, because it has a bearing on it.
It's a turning point here for Maiden.
Big turning point.
You think of any modern band today, Jack, their lead singer, get a new singer in from another band and a contemporary band, and you couldn't really liken it to anything at the moment because, you know, the music band population is so fickle anyway. They'll move to the next thing. You know, this is what I sort of would see as this is the end of new album and the beginning of established hard rock, heavy metal acts worldwide.
They're hitting the big time.
You know, it was either the end of the beginning or the beginning of the end. That's what I think this period is.
I think so too. Yeah.
We know they absolutely smashed it, folks. They really did.
They absolutely smashed it.
It's brilliant.
Is right. Yeah. Touring, I think what Chris is saying there as well. Just you have to bear in mind this is a band that isn't going to really get much radio play.
No.
You know, so it's all about touring. That's why the tours are booked in advance. That's why there's that pressure. And
as well, talking about touring, the variety of acts that they actually tour with, is really
Ted Nugent and all.
Rainbow.
Yeah.
This isn't Rainbow of Dio Rainbow. We're talking Joe Lynn Turner Rainbow.
It's,
quite sort of, I don't know, middle of the road
kind of stuff. Yeah, different audiences. You know,
38 special.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, different audiences.
But again, it's exposure, and it's to do every episode. We say the same thing. Rod and Andy, the canny nature, the business behind it, the drive that they had, and the belief that everybody had in the group.
It's the drive. the push, and it's getting out on tour. And apparently there was a little bit of argy-bargy about this, about actually getting the album finished, because the A&R people or something were coming down to Rod had them down to listen to the album. You know, it's good to go, and the mix was played, and straight after it, Steve went to Martin Birch and went, what's with those mixes? It's nowhere near as good as the Run to the Hills mix. And Martin Birch went, I'm sorry, Steve, I just literally didn't have the time. Like, I put everything into it.
Yeah.
But I just didn't have the hours to, I'd been on the go constantly. I did the best that I could. And so Steve went and had a Barney with Rod Smallwood, basically I kind of like piss off until we get, you got to give him more. He needs another week or couple of weeks to get this mixed properly. We'll have to remix it, Steve put him in his place. Stuck a sign on the door, studio door, saying no northern managers. So put the foot down.
Oh, he wasn't like that.
So and Martin Birch got the time to get it mixed. Then still rushed.
It doesn't sound.
It sounds amazing.
Sound like it's rushed. That's one thing Martin Birch has been quoted as saying as well. You get the same vibe recording this album as he did recording the Purple Machine Head.
Yeah.
Which is probably the previous generation's hard rock record of choice.
Yeah.
Maybe Zeppelin not
this was
but
a big,
or Sabbath, but
big record.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a big record. So
very influential record.
Yeah.
Machine Head. This is equally, if not more so.
So they're
amazing.
So we're going to come on to the album now, folks. Just before we do, I think it's odd that they're actually out on tour before the album comes out.
Yeah.
The Beast on the Road
But it's
tour
a fantastic
starts.
idea, Andy.
Yeah.
Because the people out there are Maiden fans, know the established tunes, and they're of it. But imagine being a Maiden fan, Diano Era fan, and an absolute believer in what they can do, and then they come out with
Run to the Hills.
Or
and it smashes
22 Case Avenue,
number 7 in the UK singles chart. So they Run to the Hills, and then they're
350,000 copies sold, I think.
Yeah,
which is amazing for a single of a heavy metal band.
They tour from the 25th of February 1982 to the 4th of December, and in that time they do I counted about 173 shows.
Oh shit, it's Maiden. That's what they do in those days.
UK, France, Spain, Switzerland, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, lots of shows in the States, Canada.
Those support gigs we're talking about.
Japan, and their first time in Australia. So they cover, the tours are getting bigger. So then the record is released. Number of the Beast is released on the 22nd of March, 1982. It lasts 39 minutes and 11 seconds. Let's look at the tracks. Let's look at the album.
Not even one side of a 90-minute tape.
Yeah, I know. So
brilliant.
Track number 1.
Right.
Invaders.
Harris composition.
Yep.
Short
to the point.
Punchy.
Very
punchy. Again, that knees up heavy metal. I've said it every single episode.
Yeah.
Definitely Clive Burr's swing. The lyrics are like nothing else we've heard so far.
Yeah.
It's a history lesson in a 3-minute 20-second song.
Yeah, it's the Viking raids against the Anglo-Saxons in like 8th century England.
With a chromatic up and down chorus, which is incredibly... I suppose if you were you maybe thought it was a wee tiny bit camp. I think it's amazing. I honestly, it's probably one of the songs I sing the most when I'm in the car by myself or in the shower or whatever.
I read about this album, the kind of cliched things to say about it is it's a great album, but Invaders isn't as good and Gangland isn't good. They're the two songs that, without getting ahead, that seem to get a little bit of stick. I think Steve has said himself, could have maybe come up with something better than Invaders.
I'm not being funny.
But I think...
Yeah, okay.
You think it's awesome?
I agree with you. I love Invaders.
I love Invaders. The reason why I love Invaders is, for me, it launches the Bruce Dickinson era in such a way.
It's a broadside.
Who else could sing that?
The speed, the tonal
Yeah.
perfection.
I mean, here's a line, you know, longboats have been
Cited
sighted.
and evidence of
So
war
war
has
has
begun.
begun many
Nordic
Nordic
fighting
fighting
men
men.
there shows you.
It's that rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat.
in the sun.
Yeah.
Class.
You know, that's a mouthful for someone to try and
it
sing,
is.
you know?
It is
But
indeed.
Dickinson delivers it with these just swooping greatness, you know?
Absolutely.
It's just,
And ferocity. And here, hold on a wee minute.
and you can make out every
Listeners
word.
or watchers.
Mhm.
Immigrant Song.
Mhm.
Immigrant Song.
Mhm.
One of the greatest hard rock songs of the
That
era
is
before.
about Vikings.
It's about Vikings.
Yes, yes.
It's basically the harder sequel to it.
Harder sequel to it, and I've actually got in my notes here. It's also a song that, you know, possibly spawned an entire genre of power metal.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know,
Yeah.
and I would say, Amon Amarth are pretty influenced by Invaders as well. They're like, you know, melodic Viking death metal band that are very much, I would say, there are huge fans of Invaders. I would imagine. So yeah,
How could you not be?
it gets a thumbs up from me.
Absolutely,
I
me
love
too.
it, and I love the
Fantastic start.
yeah. It's just rapier, and it's the vocal line. You know.
You mean rapiers in the sword?
Yes.
Oh, right, that's okay. Cool.
Yeah. No, yeah, not as in a pillaging sense.
Yeah,
No,
right, don't know.
sorry.
Very terrible.
Maybe a poor choice of words. No, I meant as in just it's, you know, swashbuckling. Would that have been
Absolutely.
better?
Swashbuckling.
Yeah. So
Fantastic.
yeah, thumbs up on track number 1. So track number 2 is
Children of the Damned.
Okay, so this is it's a Harris composition, but it's actually, in truth, a Harris Dickinson composition, I think. Bruce couldn't get writing credits because of the deal he had with Samson, so there's no writing credits on this album, despite the fact he
Seems
was,
to be all over it.
according to Run to the Hills,
Yeah.
he's heavily involved in several of the songs, and we'll state which ones he's heavily involved in. This is one of them. What do you think of this one?
Fabulous.
It's a classic, isn't it?
Now, we have been quite critical of the slower Iron Maiden songs. Thinking about like Prodigal Son in the last album, you know.
Yeah.
This is the same ingredients, but immediately a far better recipe.
Well, I would liken it to, it's funny you should say that. Yeah, the ones when they tried a bit of Light and Shade
Yeah.
and Killers, it didn't work.
Yeah.
For us. On the first album though, Remember Tomorrow is one of the best tracks.
Yeah.
And
Okay, fair.
I think it has those ingredients.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
lovely melodic verse.
Yeah.
Nice. You know, I think Steve actually comments on that kind of maybe the guitars and the verses
Great
are
lead work.
kind of Adrian Smith really imposing himself on this
that's what I
album.
was going to say. There's a clip on that classic album stock of him just sitting with
Jamming.
with the Jackson or whatever he's playing. It's amazing. It's nearly like Hendrix.
Aye,
A wee tiny bit.
it is.
Definitely
Has
seeing
that.
flourishes, you know.
That
But
sounds beautiful.
it just sounds
sounds
amazing,
great.
and it's definitely the Light and Shade. But the song itself, and I'm going back. This is the soundtrack of my late childhood, and then into really appreciating music. You know, when I really get turned on to music, this was the thing that turned me on. But this song terrified me when I used to listen to it as a kid.
Right.
The lyrically,
Right.
if you think about it, because you know, you have an understanding of the story. It paints such a vivid picture.
It's a very graphic depiction. Yeah.
And then you know, without having any idea of anything behind it.
Yep.
If you listen to it as a child, and then whenever it changes from the shade from the light, it's kind of terrifying.
It could be dark.
But
without knowing.
As
the
a
background.
child, I thought that was brilliant.
Brilliant.
Do you know what I mean? It's like it's like Ghost Train. You know, you're the one to be scared. You want to be, and you're like, I've never heard anything against my. There's another tune I'll talk about that in a different way later on. But you know, as a kid, that scared me in a fantastic way. And I thought, this is amazing.
Right. Cool.
You know, it's like the bits where he's starting to laugh.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we should probably say that's interesting that you're had that reaction to the lyrics when you didn't know what they meant.
Oh, I
You
know, I
didn't-
had a clue.
You didn't
Yeah,
know.
I was reading like Roald Dahl books. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. The song is based on the 1964 movie.
Oh, I
Is
watched
that it?
I watched
Yeah.
the trailer of it and the research. Fuck me. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
Concerns-
It's weird.
Weird, yeah. It concerns a group of children with
Alien
psychic
parents?
powers. Psychic powers, is it?
But they like have alien parents or something.
Well, I think it's a bit ambiguous. I think their thought, what I read about it was it's thought that they're aliens, but then as the film progresses, people realize, or the powers that be realize, that actually they're humans from the future that are more
aye.
advanced and more evolved.
Grand.
I think that's it.
As you do.
And I think there's something about the eyes that
Yeah,
they've got
they
these
light up.
psychic- their eyes light up.
They do.
Yeah.
They light up, and then whenever they light up, they make it kind of like whenever the light hits my glasses, it kind of makes you do crazy stuff.
Yeah. And then what happens is the children they're from all
Yeah, there's an
Different
Indian
countries,
one, a
yeah.
Chinese one,
British.
British one, there's
American,
an American one, and
Russian.
Russian. Aye, so I don't know. It's like a
It's from the
Cold War sort of threat piece. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. And I
but
believe
maybe a little late for that, but it'd be more sort of late 50s. But that sort of thing. But I don't know.
Yeah, well, no,
the link between it, I think, is quite tenuous. To be honest, with
Oh,
you. That's not lyrics.
it's loosely
know,
based.
yeah.
But I think that the film ends with these children kind of coming to the conclusion that they can't coexist with, these normal humans. So they lower their defenses. On the other side, the human race has decided, maybe we shouldn't kill them. But a screwdriver goes the wrong. They decide not to blow them up, but a screwdriver falls or something like that, or something happens. The most simple piece of technology in the world, and knocks the thing off, and they get blown up. So all the stuff about the melting and all that vivid crescendo,
The scary bit,
that Chris was talking about there is that bit.
Yeah. Okay.
So there you
Good
are.
bit of research there, sir.
Good bit. You like that?
I do, You didn't
So,
rest this week anyway.
No. I actually never really knew. I always thought that was a graphic part of the song and really cool, but I didn't know why. I didn't know
Yeah.
really the meaning behind it. So it's interesting. So maybe
Check that out if you
check that
fancy
out.
it.
Yeah. And it's added something. For me. It's put more of that classic Maiden thing of it's a little mini story.
Yeah.
As Chris says, it's loosely based in the film, but it's a little bit of theatre.
Paints that picture.
Paints that picture there. Whether I always loved this song, but I never quite really knew what it was about. It was a bit cryptic for me, that one. So
It
there you
is
are.
a fantastic track.
Brilliant track.
Track one, fantastic.
Great
track two,
guitar work.
Oh,
Just
absolutely.
the whole way through. Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, first two tracks are brilliant.
Superb.
Song number 3, The Prisoner.
We want information.
Information. Brilliant song.
Now, Bruce wrote if you believe Bruce, he wrote the drums to this part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clive was away for a cuppa.
Yeah, or
Or
whatever.
something. Yeah.
Cup of something.
And he was jamming.
Yeah.
And Bruce knocked out a beat and Smith started
Again,
the
that's
riff.
the organic way that they wrote.
Yeah.
And obviously writing partnership that has lasted to this day.
It's kind of the first Smith Dickinson
Yeah.
track, and that's been a great partnership for Maiden, as I'm sure pretty much any Maiden fan would agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's how this one started off. I'd say the lyrics are very kind of Dickinson.
Yeah.
I think they may be Steve Harris, but I think Bruce is the Prisoner fan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He does.
Yeah.
He does a great. It is a great impression of Patrick McGowan with his wee coat on.
Yeah.
And the big ball running after him.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch The Prisoner? Did you ever see it?
Rover. that's called.
Is it?
So the balloon, weird balloony thing, if anyone knows what The Prisoner, we should just say, is a 1967
Cult British TV show.
cult sci-fi TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And The Prisoner, the song, is based on that TV show. The voice clip is Patrick McGoohan, who's the star of that show. So it's a clip out of the program.
Yeah.
The program is about a guy who's a secret agent or something like that.
And he's part of this organization.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's abducted
Yeah.
and held in this village as a prisoner. And you can't really escape because on each side of it's surrounded by mountains. And if you do try and escape, this giant white balloon called Rover will chase you and asphyxiate you. So you may have seen it in some Maiden kind of imagery. Actually, when I was just thinking about this, the video for the Wicker Man, he's kind of throwing about rovers. So yes, it's a little nod
Aye.
to The Prisoner. So there you are.
But it's a great,
link
it's lyrically, you know, taking, you know, the imagery out of it. Lyrically, it's a fantastic song. I'm not a number, I'm afraid, you know.
Yeah.
It's a punch the air, you know, celebration of being yourself.
Being yourself,
Yeah.
it transcends the TV program. It's
It transcends the TV program. But again, looking back, Killers, overriding theme in Killers was getting away, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't me, you know, guilt. This is all, you know.
It's a bit more.
I'm going to do this.
More
this is
positive.
me.
I'm going to do
Yeah.
it. And I think
You
Bruce
better
said
scratch me from your black book.
Yeah.
The lyrics, I love the lyrics of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think Bruce
Any
said,
young kid or young person should be listening to that going.
yeah, it's
You can
just
listen to it when you're skateboarding, you can listen to it when you're on your...
go get him, go
Yeah.
do it. Let's be
Having a
positive.
run, you
and,
know.
Yeah.
great.
You're not going to keep me down type thing.
Going out to school, where you go, get the prisoner on in the car.
So this is Bruce saying he never quite fitted in,
Nor did
but
he,
I do now type thing, you know. So yeah, great song lyrically, musically.
Guitar line, just the guitar line on it. You know what I'm talking about. There's a guitar line sort of halfway through.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that. You know what I mean?
so it's Adrian Smith's kind of
I can't do it justice.
semi kind of solo
Yeah.
thing. It's like a pattern that descends. Yeah, brilliant riff. I think there's a real groove off this song. I also think that Clive's drumming in this song is fantastic.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a swing and
And an
jazz
urgency.
smashes
Yeah.
with a real bounce to
Yeah.
it as well. I think it's one of his best performances. So
Yeah, it is phenomenal.
it's a great
It is phenomenal.
track.
You can get the vibe of this episode, can't you? Every song.
Every song
about
is
we
fantastic.
love.
And I saw them play this at the Maiden England show at the O2 whenever they were, revisiting the Maiden England there in the was it 2008 or something like that. Whenever it was,
14? No, it's Maiden England.
maybe it was 2014. Was it?
14.
Yeah.
It was summer
I
back.
think you're right. You're right. And I think, if memory serves, they played Moonchild first, and then they played The Prisoner. And I remember standing there going, reeling from Moonchild, and they kicked into The Prisoner, and I just thought to myself, my God, they sound. Every time I think this band can't sound any better.
Yeah.
They just sounded absolutely awesome.
I'm sure,
And I wasn't expecting them to maybe play The Prisoner, and it just was such a track. The place was just going nuts. Brilliant. So, The Prisoner. Next track, 22, Acacia Avenue.
Yep. 22 Acacia Avenue. Now,
This is a Smith.
I was going to
Smith
say,
song.
Adrian Smith track.
Yeah.
Is it steeped
Smith
in
Harris.
any kind of real life?
Oh, who knows? I think the band always kind of are going
This
to
Charlotte thing going on, you know?
keep this one a bit vague. I'd say it's probably because they know that us fans like that kind of mystery.
Yeah,
But,
well, I have to say, from the off, you couldn't write this song today.
No, the subject matter, you
Yeah.
couldn't write this
You know.
song today. So it's about Charlotte the harlot from the track from the first album. So it's a song that they've kind of continued this story.
But a great song.
Great song. And interestingly enough, the song was written by Adrian back when he was in Urchin. So, and Steve said to him, "What about that song you played?" Adrian kind of forgot about it. Oh yeah. So Steve said, I got him to, play. I always really liked that song when they played it. So, he showed me it, and we worked on it, and we kind of, Maidenized it, put a few more time changes in there. What they didn't say, and what I don't know, is whether the song had these lyrics and this name or not. I don't know. That's not been made clear. Lots of interviews and examples of them talking about this song was an old Adrian Smith song, but they never mentioned the lyrics, so we don't know about that.
Well, maybe Ari put the lyrics to it. It's definitely musically more Smith than Harris, 100%. I think.
Oh yeah.
So
I would say you're possibly right there, and Harris has maybe put this in there to continue that story on.
This is another one of these educations as a young boy, because I didn't really know anything about that. The oldest profession at 7 or 8.
The world's oldest profession.
Whenever I got you have the insert with the lyrics, and I'm going, yeah. And as you get a wee bit older, you go, right, that's a bit naughty.
A wee bit naughty,
but
there's a bit of sadness in it as well, though.
There is.
And obviously it's about, anyone who isn't kind of aware or whatever. It's a, Charlotte's a prostitute, and it's about she's now living in this place, and
not in a good place.
Not in a good way. It's about all the kind of vice and everything. So
all the different things that can happen whenever you're in that sort of situation. You don't have any control.
But whether it's true or not, the band have left, that one open to speculation. I mean, Acacia Avenue is like a British term for an average
Eric
street.
from Banana Man lived in Acacia Avenue.
There you are. You see, it's kind of like
it's like Acme products in America.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like, or Mr. Smith or something. It's like so it's probably not real. There is an Acacia Avenue in Tottenham though, so don't know, which isn't really that far from where some of the band were hanging about. But anyway, musically,
there's some great guitar work in this song.
I love how this song even just starts off, just chugging.
Yeah.
Just the ding 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 ding. It's just class. So it is. And
it is.
For me, it's just Adrian just adds. He adds a slightly different style. There's playing a
dynamic, hard groove in his work.
Yeah,
all the way through.
Yeah,
he's a very acute sense as well, I think, of the melody of certain things.
Yeah,
and that guy can write riffs.
Oh, he can write riffs. Yeah, brilliant.
Really, really, really phenomenal riffs.
I mean, the interlude riff, if you want to call it that, is just stunning.
I love it. It's nearly the musically could nearly be the highlight of the album for me.
It's brilliant.
It's like a chainsaw to the face. And then just doodly.
It's funny when you say that. It's like a chainsaw to the face.
Even the tone of his guitar is quite. It's nearly like he's broke a valve in his amp or something.
But you made me think of a quote there. I remember Bruce saying around the time of his solo album, The Chemical Wedding, in the late 90s.
Wow, yeah.
And saying about album. When Adrian Smith's playing guitar on it. And I remember him saying, but nothing Adrian does is aggressive. It's heavy.
Yeah.
But it's never aggressive. He's able to just pick notes out with real grace or something like that, he said. And I thought it kind of summed up Smith's playing. Because yes, it has got that attack and everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yet there's a, I don't know, there's like a slickness or something to it. There's
There's not very many people can write a riff like that.
Yeah.
And there's hundreds of thousands of people out there that write riffs.
But not
very famous riffs.
Mm-hmm.
But not
He's very unique,
groove.
very unique
A groove.
style. And
It's a riff you could put into any song in that key of any genre of music, and it would still sound great.
still sounds class. I think
So
what makes,
done, Adrian. That's what we have
well
to
done,
say.
well done, Adrian. We love you, dude.
We do indeed.
Yeah, and I think he's a key component of what makes this album and Maiden
And the
moving
rest,
forward
yeah.
so special.
Absolutely unreal.
Definitely. So yeah, 22 Acacia Avenue gets thumbs up.
Yeah, okay. Out of that, there, so far, but the song probably I would I can't even say like the least because I do love it, but you know what I mean. I do
You can't say that because you just said that the riff in the middle of the song is the best.
I know.
And
Musically,
maybe
it's a bit
your best moment of the album.
It's
So.
the I know. But as an adult, the subject matter of it is it's a bit dated.
Dated, yes,
Okay,
yes.
you know,
Which is probably why
that's
they
all I
don't
can
play
say.
it anymore.
Yeah, probably.
I have to say
which
that,
is sad.
You know,
because
which is sad.
That riff, guys, is unreal.
We probably, but you know, they're in their 60s now, and they probably don't
Yeah.
want to be singing that kind of a
True,
thing. So
true.
yeah. So we're unlikely to hear it again, I'd have thought. But anyway, moving on to the next track, the title track of the album.
Have we flipped sides yet?
We're flipping sides right now. This is side 2 if you're listening on vinyl, or as I did on cassette when I had this. The Number of the Beast.
Oh, to you, O earth.
O to you, O earth and sea.
For the devil. Brilliant.
Awesome. Now, the first thing I say about this is I think a lot of people think it's Vincent Price,
but it isn't.
but it's not. It is.
It's some DJ from Capital Radio,
There you are.
and Bruce had sort of picked up his broadcasts at late at night, and so they got him on the phone to do the reading,
There you are.
and it is fabulous.
It is brilliant. It's just such atmosphere. Can I just go off on a very small tangent
for
for
it.
1 second?
Work away. That's what we're all about here. We're all friends here.
The clip, the sample of Patrick McGoohan talking at the Prisoner. Do you know where Maiden got that from? Do you know who gave them the sample?
Patrick McGoohan, wasn't it?
No.
Who?
Tommy Vance.
Not.
It's in
Love him.
It's in the Mick Wall book. So there you
Tommy
go.
Vance.
Tommy Vance was a British DJ who was a
Hard rock
big
DJ.
Maiden fan.
Dead and gone. God rest him. But
Yeah, and we loved him. He used to do like a rock program.
Yeah, we did.
Back,
we
back
loved
in the
him.
day. And
We did indeed.
I was reading in the Maiden book. It said that it was Tommy Vance that got them the clip from the program to
Brilliant.
put on the album, and then they had to ring Patrick McGoohan to get
Yeah.
permission to
Oh,
use it.
yeah.
You see, so
That was a
anyway,
real big
I
thing.
meant to say that. So yes, Number of the Beast.
Number of the Beast. Number of the Beast. Oh my goodness, Number of the Beast. We're coming into quite the side. Probably could be, and we've already been talking about this. Could be the greatest side of an LP Iron Maiden ever did. Maybe, I don't know. Could be of an LP. Now we're not talking
Not
about
for me.
Not for you.
Not for me. Well, it's up there.
Three songs on it are still played live today.
I know it's up there. It's not the greatest side of
Okay,
an LP for
fine.
me.
Can't
but
wait
it's-
to hear what
it's
your
really,
greatest
really
side
up there.
is.
But
I said could be. I'm not saying it's mine either. If you watch the very first episode of this,
But yeah.
I blow it and tell you what
Yeah.
my favorite album is.
It could be.
It's actually
though.
not this album, but
It's a fantastic. Yeah.
you look at it, right? So,
Yeah.
Number of the Beast, story of Number of the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Harris obviously has some sort of problem sleeping at times,
Yeah.
dreams. It's also rooted in the poem "The Tamil Chanter" by Robbie Burns.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which Steve says that he studied at school.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about a man who gets drunk and is riding home on his horse at night
Yes, and
And
he
it's chased.
sees.
by dark figures move and twist.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I
He
think he's
stumbles
chased
across witches and warlocks
Yeah.
partying with the devil,
home. Yeah.
apparently, and shouts out to them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
They
races.
chase him.
He races home, doesn't he? And I think
Mhm.
they just grab his horse's tail at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weird kind of a
Robbie
thing.
Burns is great. I would do that. I would
Yeah.
do a bit of that myself in my work.
Mhm.
Do a wee bit of that. So I think he's a fantastic poet. you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a wee bit close to my heart because my grandfather was big into Robbie Burns. So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but I was amazed that there was a link there. You know, I didn't actually know that until I started doing a bit of research about
Mhm.
the album. So
Neither did I. I didn't know this.
Recording this track then.
Robert Burns, the famous Scottish
poet. Oh,
from
sorry.
the late 1700s, I think so. Just
the bard.
Just in case you don't know. So us being from Northern Ireland, there's Scottish links, and also we're very familiar with his work. So, but I didn't know it was linked to Number of the Beast.
No, can't believe it myself. Yeah,
yeah,
unreal atmosphere. Immediate atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Famous story in the recording of this where Bruce was made to sing the opening 4 lines for many, many hours.
Yes.
Until
over and over and
Martin
over and
Birch
over.
got exactly what it was he wanted. Bruce maybe not so sure really what he wanted.
I think
but
he said he was throwing furniture
yeah,
and all about
apparently
it. Just
so.
like, why am I singing this over and over type thing.
But it is, it's about what is real, what is not real. The nightmares.
Martin Birch is trying to, just on that, Chris, I think he said from his point of view, he had a very firm idea of the atmosphere that he wanted and just getting it right. And I think, if you look at him talking about this or read anything he said about it, I think there was a wee bit of kidology. I think he was winding Bruce up for the scream.
Yeah.
Because, after all that, he's like, okay, need you to do a big scream now.
Yeah.
And it's, Bruce had said at the time, oh, yeah, willingly, But Martin Birch had been around the block quite a few times. And I think he knew how to maybe push people's buttons.
He's dealt with one of the rock's greatest screamer up until this.
Yeah.
Ian Gillan, hasn't he? Deep Purple.
Could be wrong about that, but yeah, the atmosphere is fantastic. I think just the vocals at the start, like, he got the performance.
Yeah.
Whatever way he did it, he got the performance.
And it's very much Steve, isn't it? It's the you nearly have the bass by itself at the beginning. It's played with the same rhythm, and it is the driver for the song. It's brilliant.
And you've the riff comes in then with a bit of flange effect over it as well. It gives it a
vocals phased a bit as well.
There might be a wee bit. Yeah. Yeah.
I think they are at the scream too, aren't they? I think there's definitely some processing done there at the end, but it is
the scream is class.
Yeah.
No, it's just a scream. Yeah. It's a hell of a scream.
Yeah. It's coming from the depths of hell. That's what they want you to think anyway.
Yeah.
But
it's a classic Maiden track.
It's brilliant.
We've all heard it, pretty much most gigs. And it's one of those songs, I suppose, it's a bit, and a lot of the songs on this album are like this. It's a bit like, Enter Sandman or Teen Spirit or something like that, where, you've heard them that many times, you can't take the songs for granted. And it's very hard to go back to that place where you haven't heard it before. And I was trying to listen to it this week and just, really kind of focus on the song rather than just, it's Number of the Beast playing, and it's a difficult thing that it's almost impossible to do, but it's brilliant. It's such a brilliant song. You just take it for granted. It's Maiden by numbers now.
It's got that.
It's brilliant.
It's got it's got all the parts working together like a well-oiled machine. On top of that,
cool
you've got
build up and the riff. Then there's like a kind of off-kilter beat during the verse.
There's like it's like a misbeat.
So
like
it's like
drums.
the hit on the third or something like that. It's
it's Clive Berg. Well, apparently reading it through this, Clive found this like hard to drum to.
It was Steve's idea. Yeah, it means he's when it's a solo composition, he has everything mapped out. So, but it's a fantastic song here. It's just a absolute.
It's a classic.
And obviously, it was controversial, particularly in America and stuff. Because of the 666 thing.
You could argue
and all that.
There's
devil worshippers.
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yep.
Yep.
And
they do laugh that off quite a lot when you see them being interviewed. It's not like the Beatles.
No.
It's not like they didn't come out and say anything like John Lennon did in the 60s. It's like they did this and they were like, come on.
And what do you think of the Martin Birch story about the nuns?
Oh, I know, it's class.
That's the one that they insist is true.
Yeah. that he was driving his Range Rover from the studio one
on the
dark,
Sunday
stormy night.
when they were working on the track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he crashed into a van full of nuns.
Yep. Which he went.
People praying and stuff.
It's a bit odd.
Yeah.
You know.
And then when he got the repair bill back from getting his Range Rover fixed, the bill was £666.66p.
Which I know he doesn't say this in Classic Rock, but I saw another interview with him which he said, which I refused to pay. I told the guy, I'll pay you £1 more or £1 less or 670 quid, or I'm not paying you that number. You know, so that was a bit of an oddity.
Well, the reference is biblical, and it comes from the number of the beast, being Satan. But
it's odd though, a songwriting point of view, it's showing now where Steve's pulling ideas in from several places to construct a narrative. You know, it's partly a dream, it's partly Robert Burns. It's partly some people have said, I don't know where this comes from, but you know, the Omen films, or the Omen Part 2, and you know, and you've got a bit from the Bible here. So there's all these different kind of things put in, and then one little story created, you know, about a...
But again, the license has been taken artistically to make a song sound brilliant.
There's
no ulterior motive
it's a cool wee
behind
story.
it, you know.
No, it's just a cool wee story. So, and it opens up a world of, for me, weirdness, and it does have another worldly quality.
B11 and listen to it, or B8 and listen to it.
I'm sure.
And you're like, wow,
it's
that's Halloween.
I mean,
it's Halloween in a song.
The laugh out of Thriller terrified me, so I don't know. I don't know why that got you.
That was Vincent Price, wasn't it?
I think that was. Yeah, I think that was. Yes.
It's Lincoln here.
A chilling laugh that still kind of creeps me out to this day. Next track is "Run to the Hills."
What can you say? 250,000 copies. Number 7 in the charts.
Yeah.
Gallop.
One
word.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Is this the first Gallop?
Bona fide, yeah, I think so.
Because, like, there's some great tracks. Obviously, we've done the first 2 albums, but I was actually thinking, no, there's I suppose Killers is a Gallop.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
it's more of a Gallop.
Killers is different parts. This is based around the Gallop.
Yeah.
You know, the Gallop is Steve Harris. The particular way, the percussive nature, the way he plays the bass.
Yeah.
And
it sounds like a horse.
Martin Birch says like rolling, whereas we had always said galloping. It's like a horse.
Yeah. I think Maiden call it a gallop.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool song. Starts off with great drum beat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming off great bit of tom work with it by Clive Burr. Then you've a really cool kind of riff with some twin leady thing going on.
Right.
With a lot of bends.
Yeah.
A lot of bends in that
if
kind
you're
of
a
opening
guitarist,
riff.
Great practice.
Yeah, you get the bends in. And the I think the key aspects of these songs are there's great drumming from Clive throughout, but
absolutely.
The lyrics, which are about
those two perspectives, isn't it? Of the conqueror and the conquered.
Yes, of the Native American
Americans. Could be the conquistadors. I suppose you could liken it even to, you know, even the struggle in the American West.
Yeah.
American and, you know, the Native American people and the settlers, you know.
It's the...
I don't know whether it's conquistadors or whether it's
Native Americans.
It's the centuries,
It's the destruction of the Indian nations. Right. Is what in the Americas. That's what and what Steve Harris said. One side's from the the Indians' point of view, and the other side's from like the cavalry's point of view. Great. I think the lyrics are great. There's real emotion in there. I love the way Bruce kind of tells the story. I think there's real feeling in it. It's an odd thing for a rock song, maybe slightly.
Well, I don't know. It's a theme for me. It's a theme for Maiden, I think. Certainly.
Yeah.
There's definitely. We've said this before. There's a historical. They obviously love history. Yeah.
They're probably not the first band. I was just thinking there. Queen did White Man, which is about the same type of thing with the Native American Indians. So. But the other thing is just the huge chorus.
Yeah.
This is That's why if Bruce was a footballer, you'd say that's why they signed him.
Yeah.
You know, to deliver that. It's just singing is just phenomenal. There's
a
big
belt.
step up
There's
notes.
the build up as well into the final chorus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the guitars and then
Yeah.
What
And then
range?
the scream. What range? Yeah.
It's a better scream than the one in Number of the Beast.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And he nails it live too.
Yeah.
You know.
Which is night after night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is just a bulletproof voice. You know.
Unreal. Fabulous.
I love Run to the Hills. Brilliant song. I think I was saying to you just before the show there's a Samson song called Hammerhead, which you look it up on YouTube. You know, Bruce's former band. It's interesting to listen to, just that. Now, I'm not for a second saying that Run to the Hills is a copy of it. I don't mean it that way. But I put it this way. I think you can see that Run to the Hills is a progression from there. You can see, I think maybe it's one of the songs that Steve maybe looked at and thought he could do that, this kind of big, notey chorus thing.
Yeah.
You know, and allow Steve to
do the range, and he can
to write these, allow him to write these kind of things, because the Samson song, it has a cool big chorus. You know, it's not recorded particularly well, but Bruce's voice, you can just hear it's there, and it kind of, there's something that just makes me go, you can see that Run to the Hills is the next step, you know, with the right band and the right songwriter.
It's this, what track am I, 7?
6.
Yeah,
Yes, so we've got
yeah. But so far, like, the alchemy is there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in every aspect.
It's a magic album.
Yeah.
You know, every song's brilliant.
You know, it's
so,
one of those, pretty much, you know, of all time.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
That in particular.
Yeah.
As a single, it was recorded in an extraordinarily short space of time in a very high pressured environment.
Yeah.
With a brand new singer.
And yet it sounds awesome.
And from scratch, not having the idea 5 years before in your bedroom, you know, like, come on.
Yeah, to come up with that space of time
who
as
else,
well.
Who else at the time was pulling anything like that out?
Brilliant.
Like, we're talking pre-Metallica and that, you know.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know.
Totally. Fantastic song. Love it.
Really good.
Next track is Gangland, which is a Clive Burr
the drums
composition.
The drums in this are brilliant. Great swing, great feel.
Yep. Great drum rolls.
Yeah, really, really good. Really good. Just drives the song.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think of Gangland? I'll let you say first.
Well, you know, probably it's a great song. There's a great like middle eight in it as well, which I quite like.
Yeah.
So there is it would be arguably the weakest track on the album in my opinion. But when you're talking about weak, geez, it'd been a standout track in Killers maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds to me of all of those tracks, that is the one Di'Anno would make a really good stab at.
Interesting. That is...
when I was listening to it during the week, I thought to myself, Paul Di'Anno would sing that brilliantly.
So that's really, really interesting, because what my view of Gangland is, I like it. I think it's a good song. I think it gets a lot of stick. It's often said, Gangland shouldn't have been on the album. Should have put Total Eclipse on it.
Which they did.
Well, they put it on the 1998 reissue.
Because I didn't know why it wasn't on the CD I bought.
I
was buying CDs, some of the LPs. So,
but that's the only version. It's not,
that's all right.
It's not on it. Any of the the remasters that were done or anything. It's been dropped again. But the band have said that they should have put Total Eclipse on it. For me though, I think Gangland, what it does is it acts like a nod to the first two albums. Yeah. Which is funny that you're saying that. It adds to that kind of more edgy street.
Absolutely, writing off the lyrics. Yeah, totally say that. You're right, Andy. Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, you're saying Di'Anno, but I'm glad it's Bruce singing it. But yes,
I'd love to hear Paul Di'Anno sing that.
Well, you can hear him. Just you saying that, but it's good that there's a link to those, even though Maiden are moving forward. Yeah. And there's so much progression on this album. It's a quantum leap from where they were. Yeah. But I think this song just is nice to just anchor it slightly to the first two albums. So for that reason, I do like Gangland, and I think
I like it too.
It's full throttle.
I'm not saying I don't like it. I do enjoy it a lot. But as well, I suppose, dealing with what's going to happen after, it's a lovely thing for Clive to have.
Yes. Just while we're on
Drummers,
Gangland and Clive, Total Eclipse was a song that isn't on the album. It was put on the B-side of Run to the Hills, and the band subsequently said they made a boo-boo. They should have put Gangland on the B-side and put Total Eclipse on the album.
Yeah.
Because actually they played Total Eclipse on the Beast on the Road tour.
Right.
It's part of the set list, but Gangland isn't. So it showed you that they preferred it as a song. But Total Eclipse, good track. It's written by Harris, Murray, and Burr.
Yeah.
So Clive Burr co-wrote that as well.
And Dave's a writing credit there.
I like it as a track. I think it's class.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Again, I don't have any reservations about it.
Yeah.
It fits perfectly into the album.
It fits perfectly into the album.
It does.
Yeah, so yeah, it's another.
And it has
track.
that contribution, is what I said. That's one of the best sides of an LP ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does get the contribution. You know, it's got. You're right. It's got that sort of call back to the era before.
Gangland does not back to that.
Doffs its cap to it.
It does, and I think that's very fitting. The closer.
Well, what can be said about Hallowed Be Thy Name, folks?
Hallowed Be Thy Name. The
set closer.
Epic.
Set closer.
Yeah.
Not a set closer, but you know what I mean. You know they're going to play it near the end.
Yeah.
When you hear that at a gig, you need to think about finding your car keys again.
Yes. It's one of.
Thinking about what time to get the bus home.
Yeah. Just over 7 minutes.
It's an epic.
It's an epic.
Yeah.
It may just be their most celebrated epic.
I agree. Most well known.
It may be the ultimate Iron Maiden song. That's a big statement to make.
Oh, that's a big statement to make.
It just may be. It has everything, and I think to close this album, I think I think a song is a massive statement by the band. This is the band going into territory that they're going to follow in the
stratospheric
in the subsequent albums.
Yeah.
There's no way they could have attempted this, with all respect to him, with Paul Di'Anno at the helm. Martin Birch said that he realized that Steve wanted to write more complex things, and he knew he spoke to him about the direction he kind of wanted to go in, and this was before Paul had left the band and before Bruce had come in, and Martin Birch knew that he wouldn't be able to tackle that type of thing. He knew he didn't have the range for it, and upon hearing that Bruce had been hired, he was really excited about what Steve would come up with, because he thought, this guy can handle it. The range, this is someone I can work with, and he knew there was going to be big scope. And for me, this is a track that just opens everything up. All the other songs are short on the album.
Yeah.
You know,
it's quite a short album, right now.
3 minutes, 4 minutes. The Prisoners, 5.5 minutes. 22 Acacia Avenue, 6.5 minutes. Number of the Beast, 4.5 minutes. 3 minutes 50, Run to the Hills. Gangland, 3 minutes 40 something. Hallowed Be Thy Name's the longest on the track, and it's the condemned man's last thoughts.
Yep, that's it. Absolutely. Going over your past life. Waiting for the gallows.
Yeah. I mean, the
imagery.
The imagery. Yeah. Yes. From
and the
that,
intro with
the
bell,
Yeah. And the picked bass harmonics that give that kind of bell chime that are going on.
And Bruce, 12-string guitar on there?
It could be. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know there's picked bass harmonics because in classic albums, Birch has the mixing desk.
Yeah, that's right.
And he isolates and says that's Steve's.
Should have forgot about that actually.
Harmonics. So I knew there was harmonics in there, but I personally always thought it was guitar.
Yeah.
But it's not bass. So there you are.
Live they play the harmonics and the guitar, don't they?
I
Somebody
think so.
does, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Because Steve has to go boom,
Boom.
because otherwise all the low end would rumble out of
Yeah.
it. So yeah, it would sound tinny if he wasn't doing that. So
And
Yeah.
there's a question of this about like a desertion of faith.
yeah,
The number of the beast, the devil, you know, it deals with a religious thing in another, and obviously
Yeah.
the title, Hallowed Be Thy Name's the line,
yeah.
line out of
It's like
the Lord's Prayer.
what's the line? You know, if there's a God, why am I crying? After all, I'm not afraid of dying.
Yeah,
because I believe there never is an end. You know, it's like this guy is sentenced to death, and
It's deep.
it's really deep,
Yeah.
and it's just, I think as Bruce has said, it's a little mini movie.
Yeah.
Again, and to get, for me to get all that vision, thoughts, and such a narrative into basically what is a guy walking out to be hanged.
Yeah.
You know, what he's doing is walking from a cell out,
Yeah.
and yet there's all that going on inside this guy's head. I think it's the lyrics are magic.
It is magic.
You know, and as for the Bruce delivers the vocals.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's a bit like Invaders. How do you deliver
Yeah.
that vocal?
Such
There's a lot going
speed,
on,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
and yet he narrates the story. You know,
Yeah. It's great. It really is. The musically, it really has got a lot of the light and shade as we have come to know and love, and we'll talk further
Yep.
in later albums about. But
So you've
you
got
know,
the nice intro.
you do. You've got
Say nice.
Me-
It's somber.
yeah,
But it's
somber is
mellow.
the best word to describe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we kick into like a chug.
Yeah, it's like
Mid-bass.
nearly like call and response sort of thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Lovely kind of start stop
Yeah,
with the drums
That's it. Yeah.
before we go off again.
And then you've got the
Bit of twin lead work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's
And
a
the
lot of
instrumental.
parts to it. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
instrumental, which for me,
Twin lead's fantastic in it. Yeah.
the fast bit of this song,
That's a bit you love. I know that's a bit you love live, isn't it? Yeah.
every single time I see Maiden live, I've seen them quite a lot of times, it's that bit that kind of makes the hairs in the back of my neck stand up, or, you know, you get that kind of chill of emotion. It's just when they charge into that fast bit,
Yeah.
it's like, that's it.
Yeah,
That-
it's like they're bringing it home.
It's
Yeah.
like they're bringing it home,
Yeah.
and it's like the ultimate Maiden moment.
Yeah.
You can't get any more Maiden than the fast bit of Hallowed Be Thy Name.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
even
it's just,
at the very end,
you know,
even the way they end the song
yes,
is brilliant.
it's
as well.
brilliant.
You know, it's nearly like it was cut live, and it couldn't be, but it was nearly like it was cut live. The ending, you know.
Yeah, don't know
The,
how
the,
they
the,
record,
the, you know, the
recording,
final part of the vocal and the way they bring it down. You know, it's not. It's a big ask to bring something so powerful, so quick, and then just bring it. You know, just take it down in levels nearly. You know, it's fantastic the way they do that.
brilliant song.
From beginning to end, it is an absolute
stone
metal,
wall masterpiece.
you know, not metal, rock classic, just all the genres.
Yeah,
you know. Really, really good.
yeah, and that is the album. Now, before we do our scores, I think there's one or two more things we always need to just throw in there.
Yeah.
Is you can't really talk about a Maiden album without briefly just having a nod to the Eddies.
Absolutely.
So obviously the album cover
Here he is.
is a masterpiece of Derek Riggs' work. Originally the cover for Purgatory.
That's right. I thought it was too good.
And they went, oh no, we'll keep that for the next album. That's way too good.
Yeah. And the cover of Under the Hills singles, a theme on that, isn't it? Where they're fighting each other up the cliff.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
So on a hill.
Sorry, the hell.
On a hill.
course.
And what I really like about what I really like about that is the devil. I'll put the JPEG up when we're editing this. The devil on that is a nod to Salvador Dali.
Yes, it looks like him actually, right enough.
Yeah, and he's on your t-shirt as well.
Oh yeah.
And he keeps that consistency. So in the Run to the Hills, it's Eddie on the hill fighting the the devil.
Yeah.
And the devil has that, you know, it's the
The
same
Dali-esque sort of
Dali-esque kind of face.
face.
I also like that Eddie has the tomahawk
Yeah.
on the Run to the Hills cover. So he's the Indian, and the smile on his face as well.
Yeah.
I just think it's cool.
Yeah.
He's like
As an album cover, you know, the Elvis have studied this, and you know, the classic albums actually answer the question, because the copy I have is blue in the background, not.
yes,
It's a really early copy, obviously.
because the printing
Yeah.
went wrong.
I said, like, Smallwood said that it was rubbish looking, and I'm
Yeah.
like going, rubbish looking? That sounds rare.
It was amazing.
I'm like, that's wrong. But,
Yeah.
you know, but when you look even at the detail at the bottom of it, and on the back, when I flip the LP over, you see the band, you know, and they're in the fire, and they're actually in the fire
Yeah,
on the back.
in the fire on the back.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's like, you know,
It's amazing.
it's
looking.
like, where's Wally before
Yeah.
Where's Wally was
Yeah.
invented, you know? But an RV thing, couple of wee things as well. I don't know if you've any more to add. When I pull out my liner notes as a child, I see Bruce, heralded, Siren Dickinson.
right.
And there's some Kodak snaps of each band member
All
on the
right.
liner.
Cool.
You know,
cool.
on the liner. And I was like, why do you get the name heralded Siren? And he got the name heralded Siren because on that tour, might have been Italy, might have been just the very early days, he was singing, obviously, the tracks from the Killers era and from the Iron Maiden era. And some smart journalist said that it sounded like his favourite Iron Maiden songs were being played through an heralded siren. So Rod thought
Cool.
that was a cool moniker to give Bruce. Great way to bring him in.
Yeah.
Maybe not the most complimentary way, but at the end of the day, you know,
It's well,
he's a-
turn
he
it into a
can-
positive. It
exactly.
suggests power, and it kind of
turn a
became
negative into a
his,
positive.
his
And,
nickname, didn't it?
during the tour they had Little Devils coming out during
Yes.
Remember the Beast, and
Yeah.
one of them
Was Nico?
was Nico McBrain.
Yes,
Yeah.
I saw.
Yeah.
I heard that. It
Dressed
was,
as the devil.
it was actually Nico's
First time on stage in
performance.
Maiden.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. On that, it actually is a nice link to just what I wanted to say before we rate the album here. Just they had devils coming out, people dressed with the kind of Dali-esque face thing, you know, during the show. Just the progression of the stage show, something I just wanted to say on the Number of the Beast tour.
Yeah.
Compared to the Killers tour,
Yeah.
it's a step up. You know, they've got now the giant Eddie.
Yeah, did you know where they got them from?
Some guy in the crew saw them from the
English National
Opera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some sort of giant thing, yeah.
You know, it's like a guy on stilts or whatever
Yeah.
it may be, however it works, and it's just like that gives you that wow thing. I mean, they're still using the same thing.
One
It's
of
just awesome.
One of the bits I wait for,
Or,
you know?
Yeah, you know, everyone loves a bit when
Everyone loves
Eddie
Eddie
comes
comes
out. You know, and you know, you've just got this wow factor now that if you look at the like Live at the Rainbow
Yeah.
show, it's guys, it's people,
That's
the road
right.
crew coming out with an Eddie mask on, waving lights about.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
right.
so this is a big step up, having this giant, you know, and it must be like, you know, 12 foot or 10 foot or
easy,
something
well,
like that, you know.
Yeah, they had the two men.
Yeah, you know,
Because
coming
you
out.
see Yannick always.
Yeah,
That's class.
yeah. You know, it's just that iconic thing, and that happens on the Number of the Beast tour. So I think that's a big statement and
Yeah,
a
it
big
is.
step up for them.
Yeah.
And just interesting, I had a look at the set list because they
Yeah.
did Beast over Hammersmith.
Yes.
And then they didn't release it.
No, I was aboard it, wasn't it? Because they weren't pleased with
The lighting.
how it looked, the
Or
lighting,
something.
yeah.
But then they released it on the box set, the 2002 box set, Eddie's Archive, or
Yeah.
is that what it's called? And just the track list is interesting. I
Yeah.
suppose the Murders in the Rue Morgue, Rothschild, Run to the Hills, Children of the Dam, Number of the Beast, Another Life, Killers, 22 Acacia Avenue, Total Eclipse, drum solo, Transylvania, guitar solo, The Prisoner, Hallowed be Thy Name, Phantom of the Opera, Iron Maiden, Sanctuary, Drifter, Running Free, and Prowler. So there you go. It's a good mix of the first
Good mix.
three albums, you know. Obviously, it goes heavy on the Number of the Beast.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much playing most of the album. Although, what I don't... there's no
Okay.
There's no Invaders and there's no Gangland.
Gangland.
Yet they do play, you know,
Total Eclipse.
Total Eclipse. Isn't every other song off the album there? Children
Pretty
of
much,
the
yeah.
Dams
Mhm.
there,
Yeah.
Prisoners there.
Every other song's there.
Every other song's there.
Yeah.
So,
There's great currency already with that, you know.
yeah.
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 So yeah. And also, I suppose, video wise, you know, this is when the era we're starting to have music videos.
Yeah. So they've got the
Um,
Run to the Hills video.
They have indeed.
Yeah.
Intercut with some comedy black and white stuff.
Yeah, from Buster Keaton movies.
Yeah.
Without
And then
Buster Keaton in them.
Number of the Beast
Apparently.
with the dancer.
Yeah.
The ballroom dancer.
Ballroom dancer.
And
yes.
the female dancer turns into a wolf.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you gotta do.
Yeah.
You know.
I think the Number of the Beast, but yeah, it has that kind of thing, and I think it gives a good account of kind of what the live show maybe looks like.
Yeah,
It does have the devil guys in it,
Yeah.
and the Big Eddie comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it looks very much like Beast Over Hammersmith,
Yeah.
which you can watch again on YouTube. You can check it out.
That's right.
Brilliant
Yeah,
gig.
indeed.
So
It's
it
very
is.
good, actually.
And the final thing I'll say about the live thing is probably the most fundamental difference, actually, aside from the Eddies and all, is Bruce's movement.
Yeah.
And his voice, obviously, but the performance. If you watch Diano, he's actually quite stationary.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking him. I like Paul Diano.
He stays in the one place, yeah.
But Bruce he's athletic. He's all over the place. They're just a different band.
Stagecraft.
you know?
It's like Freddie Mercury. The
Knows how to work
the crowd.
the audience.
And he did that from day one.
He's not stationary at all. He's moving around.
A few bits
you know.
argy bargy with Ari Aris as well. He liked it. Obviously, it was his band. You know, he was out with the bass.
Yeah.
And Bruce was like, "Hold on a wee minute, I'm the singer here. I want to be front and center." But you know,
Yeah.
you can imagine there's a few bits of button heads there.
Yes. Actually, yeah, that's on the documentary. In Mick Wall's book, Steve Harris says, you know, a lot of people won't really believe this, but you know, when we got out in the road, you know, I was a little bit unsure whether this was going to work,
Yeah.
because I think he was like talking about Bruce, like he was like it was like he wanted to mark his territory or something like
Yeah.
that. You know, he was a bit kind of button heads kind of
Yeah,
with me
uh-huh.
type thing, you know, and maybe he felt he needed to stamp his authority and be a front man,
Yeah,
but he didn't
probably.
need to. He said we wanted him to go and be a front man,
Yeah.
but there you go. But it all worked out in the end. So
Different perspectives.
different perspectives, yes. So I think we have covered the Number of the Beast
have
era
indeed.
in its entirety.
We'll go for scores.
So we'll go for scores. So who's going first this time?
Who went first last time? You did. We'll go first. I'll go first this time.
You go
I'm
first.
pretty sure it was. Right, I'm gonna have to give this 9.5.
Oh, right.
Definitely 9.5. It's the first album I ever owned.
Yes.
It's the first album, full stop, I ever owned.
Mhm.
It has been a constant companion through my entire life, never mind adult life or teenage life, every part of it. No matter what genre of music I was into as a kid,
Yep.
that was always a big part of it.
Yes.
Their performances on it are incredible. As a genre-defining piece of work, it is. I'm going to say it's nearly unparalleled
Yep.
for
Yes.
the time, for the story behind it, for what it leads on to. At the very beginning of this episode, I asked you to describe it in one word, and I put you on the spot, and then
Yes.
I couldn't remember.
And he couldn't remember his own.
But
yes.
the word was monumental.
Monumental.
That's it. That's the
Okay.
word. Absolutely. It is from now till time runs out. This is the heavy metal album. in my opinion.
Well, it's funny.
and it's not my favorite Maiden album,
Well,
which is weird. But I love this.
love
Yeah.
it.
What
love
about
it.
yourself?
Well, 9.5. That's really, really high.
It's up there.
Yeah,
it really is up there.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually thought about giving it a 9.5.
Right. Okay. Oh,
So,
right.
But I am deciding to give it a 10.
Oh, 10.
A
Whoa.
10. And I tell
Sorry,
you,
peeking out there on
I'll
the record.
and I tell you why. It's kind of what you alluded to there.
Yeah.
You know, it is if it is the heavy metal album,
Yeah.
and this is what I couldn't get past in my head. I was thinking it's so good. It's 9.5 because maybe is every song absolutely scorching? Is every song bona fide classic. Probably no. Probably Gangland isn't a bona fide classic. It's good, but it's not.
What album can you name where every track is a bonus?
I can name a couple, but we'll not go into that now. But the reason why I thought sometimes an album is more than the sum of its parts.
Brilliant. Yeah, exactly.
It's a bit like like a football team. Not every player's Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need.
Yeah.
And just for me, it is an absolute classic album. How could you not? Going through Maiden's catalogue here and trying to rate every album, A Number of the Beast has to be for me probably the most iconic album they've ever done. Now maybe there are other ones.
I would agree with you there.
Totally,
I would agree with you. I couldn't argue against that point at all.
So for that reason, I just couldn't see it not have a 10.
Right. Okay.
So I just couldn't. Nah, it has to be. It's Number of the Beast.
Yeah.
It's Number of the Beast. Look, it's got Hallowed Be Thy Name. It's got. Yeah, it just has to. So
I wonder collectively will this be the highest rated album? I'm just wondering.
That is going to be
That's
extraordinarily tough to beat.
Yeah, it will
so
be.
The way we calculate
I can think of one.
I can think of
you maybe think of one
which
there's one as well that we both love a lot. It's coming up in a brief few episodes time.
Yeah,
but
that means that our Ed Factor score for The Number of the Beast will be 9.75. Good grief.
And on that note,
we will thank you for listening.
And thank you for everybody that has been contributing on Twitter.
Yes.
We've really, really enjoyed reading them and responding to them. And it's great to see that we've got people out there who are
enjoying our ramblings
and interacting with us. We really thank you. It's great.
It is. It is.
We started
cool.
this as a bit of something to do one evening.
Yeah,
but it's great to see, and great to see that we have everybody and people from all over the world as well. So shout out to everybody on Twitter. We've no direct shout outs today, but it's been a busy week. But we do really appreciate everything that you do.
Very much so. So keep in touch.
Give us a like, give us a share.
Yeah,
we're on
subscribe,
we're
all
on
that
Google
stuff.
and Apple now podcasts as well if you want the audio version.
Yep. So we're on all platforms. There's no excuses, folks. So
that's it. And we're not too far away from Senjutsu now.
Yeah.
So
and let us know your thoughts on this album. If you disagree with what we've said, if you agree, how do you rate it? It'd be cool to hear from you. So we will see you next week for another review of the next album, which will be
Peace of Mind.
The Mighty Peace of Mind. So tune in then. Until then,
all the very best.
All the best. Take care.
We'll see you soon. Bye bye.
See you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you.